Right, Enzo Maresca's Chelsea make it 9 wins out of 9 in the Europa Conference League. And I've always said, right, if we're going to compete in competitions like this, I used to say this about the Europa League, right? If we're going to compete in competitions like this, there's only one way to do it, and that is to do it in style. Clean flush and make sure you take out every single opponent in front of you. And so far, that is exactly what Chelsea have done. And before you guys get in the comments and say to me, oh, well, what about Servette? Do any of you count Everton as playing Champions League football in the 05-06 season? Do any of you remember it? Do you count Everton as playing Champions League football? I don't think any of you do. Why don't you count it? Because they went out in the qualification round. They came fourth the season before, under David Moyes, great achievement. They went out in the qualification round. So I don't care if we lost away against Servette. It doesn't count. 9 out of 9, 100% record. Chelsea have put this tie to bed going into next week's game at Stamford Bridge. And I believe that Enzo Maresca, as much as he has been given plenty of stick throughout the season and was being given plenty of stick during my live stream, deserves credit for tonight. I think he managed the situation very well. But starting off, let's have a look at the starting lineup that started this game. We have Philip Jorgensen in goal. We have Malo Gusto, left back. He obviously progressed further up the pitch. It was more Benoit Badiashile, Tosin Adarabioyo and Josh Achampong as a back three. It was Reece James that was sat just in front of the two of them. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. We are going to speak about Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall in today's video. Jadon Sancho on the right-hand side. Cole Palmer through the middle. Tyrick George on the left-hand side, who I am absolutely delighted for. One man I'm not delighted for is Christopher Nkunku. Now, when I looked at that lineup, right, I was happy to see Reece James in there. I was happy to see Cole Palmer in there. I was happy to see Josh Achampong in there. Tosin Adarabioyo, Benoit Badiashile. These have all been players that, when given the opportunity, have definitely not, left me feeling unimpressed, at least. I can't go as far to say that they've been really, really impressive, but I think that Benoit Badiashile has been good probably 85 to 90% of the time that he's played this season. As for Tosin Adarabioyo, I think I can say the same. And I was happy to see Tyrick George given a run out. However, what I wasn't happy at was the figurehead of the attack being Christopher Nkunku. I do believe that even if we take Nicholas Jackson out of the equation, I believe that Shin Mayuka would have been able to give a little bit more than Christopher Nkunku did tonight. Now, the first half was very boring, if I'm being completely honest. It was a boring half of football. And if you were in the live stream, you would have seen at the time of it, I was saying, look, guys, I understand, yeah? That's not a great half of football. You can look at it two ways. You can look at it from an optimistic way, and you can say, well, Chelsea have pretty much dominated that first half in terms of possession, in terms of touches of the ball, in terms of passes, in terms of where the game has been played. That being Legia Warsaw's final third, right? And then you could look at it from a more pessimistic point of view and say, well, hold on, we haven't really created that much. We've been limited to half chances, and we've done fuck all in that half, really. And the reason I was calling for calm in the halftime period during my live stream was because we have been here before. We've been here before. Literally, our last game away in this competition, we had a boring first half, and within 10 minutes, we were 2-0 up of the second half, weren't we? Away at Copenhagen. And I looked at that and I thought, I don't know Legia Warsaw are a better team than Copenhagen. I've not seen as much from Legia Warsaw so far in this first 45 minutes to suggest that they are going to threaten our goal. Now, they did in the end. They had one good shot, good chance they could have scored from that Jorgensen saved. But I called it at half-time. I said, this is going to be a clean sheet, and I still think we're going to win the game. And I believe I said 1 or 2-0. We ended up winning it 3-0. But much like the Copenhagen match, within, let's call it 10 minutes of the restart, we were 2 goals up. And I have to credit Enzo Maresca here. In this competition, in this tournament, right, I believe that he has actually managed things pretty well. I believe that there are certain players that might be kicking up more of a fuss had they not got the minutes that they were able to. I believe that there are players that were never going to get the Premier League opportunities and minutes this season, but have been given the opportunity as part of this competition to showcase their skill set. One of those being Tyreek George, a man that got on the goal sheet today, and I was so happy to see him do so. I thought that Tyreek George was really good today. But yeah, for that second half, we obviously come out, we're instantly better. Changes were made. Now, Reece James, I spoke about him during the match. I said, if Reece James gets anywhere near goal, he just needs to have a pop. Because sometimes, much like Declan Rice decided to do for Arsenal in the week, in Europe, you just got to go for it. And, you know, Legia Warszawa, Real Madrid, same sort of standard. So, if Declan Rice can do it, Reece James can do it. And he did. He takes the ball down on the chest. He hits it. Now, Tyreek George not only follows it in and places it perfectly into the corner, I'm kind of looking at it at first and I'm thinking, are they going to VAR this? And actually, there was no need to VAR it. There was no offside. Not only was the placement of the shot perfect under pressure from Tyreek George, stepping up to score his first senior Chelsea goal, but the run was perfect. He was so much sharper in his thinking than the Legia Warsaw defenders, thinking that shot could have been a rebound, and that was a poacher's finish. And that's something I want to see, and I want to see more from Tyreek George. So props to Tyreek George. He's the one that needs to get the praise, but Enzo Maresca's given him the opportunity time in, time out in this competition to prove himself. Literally, minutes later, Noni Madueke, there were were there moans and groans? I don't know. I couldn't really hear the fans. We probably only took about 1,000 out there. But in my live stream, there were moans and groans when Cole Palmer came off the pitch for Noni Madueke. Completely understand that. And especially the fact that we got a penalty in the second half made me massively think that I would have loved Cole Palmer to be on the pitch, because although he got the assist the other day, he would have scored the penalty. It would have got him back with the gravy train would have carried on flowing, or got back flowing in terms of goals from Cole Palmer. But we'll speak about the penalty when we get to it. Now, Madueke came on for it for Cole Palmer. Madueke made an instant impact. Jadon Sancho being direct, which he wasn't really in the first half. Now, what I say about Jadon Sancho time in, time out is he's got good ball retention, but he hangs on to it for too long. And although he doesn't get dispossessed, he hangs on to it for so long that the opportunity that was knocking has all of a sudden left the door, and it is no longer knocking. This time, he drives forward with the ball. Right, people, I just want to quickly take this opportunity to tell you about new partners of the channel, Squawka. When you're in the YouTube industry like I am, there is a certain type of service that you could very much do with having on your side, and that is the service that stops you making blunders. And when I'm preparing for some of my videos, I use the website Squawka to use the player comparison matrix, and that helps me get a better understanding of comparing the players that I'm talking about. For example, a lot of you guys know that for every Chelsea game, I put out my preferred starting lineup, and I do look into the underlying numbers of the players I'm picking and the players that I'm comparing, and that's where Squawka comes in. They offer the best player comparison matrix on the internet. The website is so efficient and so easy that even I can use it. For example, when I'm picking from Chelsea's 30 to 40 odd wingers that we've got at the club, I can very easily jump onto Squawka and see how their stats compare. But you don't need to be a YouTuber to need to use Squawka. You could use it for your bets when you're betting on first goal scorer and things like that. It could give you a better indication. Or you could just use it to look like a genius down the pub, and we all like to do that, don't we? So thank you very much to Squawka for not only helping me prepare for my videos, but also partnering up with the channel. So help support me by supporting the guys that support the channel in Squawka. They are linked in the description for this video. Let's get back into it. He gets it in behind two Legia Warsaw defenders, and he sets up Madueke for a good goal. Actually, I think that was the goal that came after the Nkunku penalty miss. It was. This one was he just passed it to Madueke. Madueke left-footed finish, slots it home. But the assist from Jadon Sancho again. Then comes the penalty instant. Now, a lot of people were thinking, was it outside the box? Was it inside the box? It kind of looked like the foul occurred outside the box, but the actual contact and where Nkunku falls over was inside the box. I'm not sure, but it didn't really mean anything anyway, because Nkunku stepped up to score it, and I had a feeling he was going to miss it. I'm going to be honest, I did have a feeling that he was going to miss it. They say about the perfect height of a penalty for a goalkeeper, and Nkunku put it the perfect height for the goalkeeper. He didn't put it far enough into the corner, not enough power on it, not enough pace on it, and yeah, a bad penalty from Nkunku. And this is the point where people want me to rip Nkunku, and I'm going to give somewhat of a controversial take here, and that is that in today's match, I didn't necessarily see like a massive lack of effort from Nkunku. I thought a few times, I saw Nkunku make a couple of challenges today, a couple of recoveries today, and try and run him behind one or two times. But I just think he's really low on confidence at this moment in time. I think that it's also combined with the fact that he doesn't want to be here. So low on confidence, somewhere you don't want to be, playing away in Poland when you probably feel like you deserve to be playing Champions League football. If you feel like you deserve to be playing Champions League football, and you feel like Bayern Munich were in for you, and maybe you had silent discussions with them, right? Yeah, do you know what the best thing is to do? Fucking play well, mate. Lift your head up, keep on going. Anyway, it didn't matter that he missed that penalty, because then Jadon Sancho drives forward with the ball. Madueke gets in, round the backhand side of two defenders who really slept on Noni Madueke, to be honest, and he converts in to make it 3-0. So once again, like the last round of fixtures in this competition, Enzo Maresca does something that, in hindsight, looks quite clever, because I was a big critic of him doing what I felt was prioritising this Conference League game over the league game against Brentford, where we dropped points, right? Now, if Cole Palmer, Nicholas Jackson, Noni Madueke and Pedro Neto start as the front three against Ipswich on the weekend, then maybe I'll look back at that Brentford draw and I'll feel a little bit different. Only if we win, obviously. But yeah, if they start as the front three, I think I'll look back on it and feel a little bit different, because I thought that he was prioritising this game, that he was going to give Cole Palmer a decent run out. He gave Cole Palmer 45 minutes. I thought that Nicholas Jackson would start the game. Nicholas Jackson didn't feature. So I do believe that if we win the game against Ipswich, then that will go some way for me forgiving Enzo Maresca for going with the wrong lineup, in my opinion, against Brentford. I've always been of the belief that you start strong and kill off a game and then bring on the lesser experienced players, as we did tonight. But obviously we didn't start with our more experienced players. Enzo and Caicedo on the bench tonight. Cucurella on the bench tonight. So I think we're in a position now where players have been rested. Obviously we have just travelled to Poland and back and whatnot, but 800-mile round trip, whatever it is, I think it is. It's not coming back from international duty as they were. It's not coming back from injury. And a lot was made of us missing Nicholas Jackson and Cole Palmer and missing the link-up between the two of them, right? Because Cole Palmer always plays better when he's got Jackson in front of him. That is fact. No one will tell me any different to that. But I think that how much we actually miss Noni Madueke goes under the radar, and I think that was shown tonight, and that's why Noni Madueke is my man of the match tonight. I think only playing 45 minutes of football to come on and to have that sort of influence on the game is something that I think was really, really good. And it very much was a game of two halves, because I thought Jadon Sancho had a good second half and a pretty shit first half, if I'm being honest. Achampong looked good. He looked very, very comfortable. The tougher tests will be to come when he comes up against tougher attacks, because Legia Warszawa didn't really offer anything. When called upon, Jorgensen done his job. But there's a couple of players that I want to give a shout out to. I already have Tyrick George. I think that he did really, really well tonight. But I want to give a shout out to Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, and you lot can let me know in the comment section below whether I'm wrong to or right to, because there's, again, a half glass empty way that you can look at it, and you can go, mate, he had 6 opportunities to score tonight and he didn't score at all. Fair. There's also a way you could look at it and say, it is Legia Warsaw. Ipswich are probably a better team than them. I understand that. But at the same time as that, I look at that and I think that's the most creative, inventive, up for it. That's the best I've seen Kiernan Dewsbury Hall play for Chelsea this season so far. And there's been games he's scored in. he wriggled out of that tight space recently and got the goal. But that's the best I've seen him play. I thought that until Madueke came on, he was our best attacking player, probably, Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. And then, once Madueke did come on, he still contributed. And on another day, he might have got himself a couple of goals. And the goals that you'd say, he should be scoring them, they were headers. They were headers. Show me many headers that Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall was scoring for Leicester. Do you know what I mean? When he gets it onto his left foot and he curls them, then yeah, the keeper made good saves there. So you can call them, efforts that he should have scored, or you can call it for what it is and say it's outside the box. And I don't think you make a song and dance if Reece James hits that one and the keeper makes the save. So I think that Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall had a good game tonight. Listen, I think that it can't be anything but good to go away to Poland and then to come away from that match knowing that the reverse fixture, you can play the kids, and it doesn't mean all that much now. We're going to go into the Ipswich match with fresh legs. That's really, really important for us now. If there's ever a time to turn it on, now's the fucking time. Because Newcastle, Man City, even Aston Villa will be breathing down our necks heavily. And I'll tell you what, with, 7 games to go now, right? Nottingham Forest, I back them. I look at their fixtures and I back them. I back them to finish third. But they're not uncatchable. If we had won this weekend, we would have been within a couple of points of them, wouldn't we? Where would we have been? We'd have been within, if we had won this weekend, we'd have been within 2 points of them. So then, when I look at things now, if there's ever a time to pick things up, it is right now. Ipswich at home, we get a win in that game. I've got tickets to the Legia Warszawa game. I'll be going to that one. We could really play the kids. I'd like to see Shimuuka in there instead of Nkunku. And then Fulham away is going to be a tough game. Everton at home. But there's a couple of fixtures there that, with fresh legs, as we can have for Fulham away even on the Sunday after we can pretty much play the kids against Legia Warszawa now that we're 3-0 up, going back to Stamford Bridge, I think that all of a sudden becomes a more winnable game. Whereas if we were going back there trailing or 0-0 or something like that, you know what I mean? Everton, David Moyes has got them playing good football, but it's at Stamford Bridge. And I back us in that game. So things are looking more optimistic. I'm not going to sell you the dream here, but things are looking more optimistic. So well done to Chelsea tonight. Well done to the away fans, because, to put your hand in your pocket to support the club is always a commendable thing. But to do it when we're not giving you all that much to celebrate about is commendable. So the away fans that made the trip to Poland tonight, I hope they all have a good drink. I hope they have a safe flight home. Well done to Enzo Maresca. Well done to Chelsea. 3-0. I will see you all Saturday morning in the preview for Chelsea against Ipswich. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Big love, people. I will see you all in the next one.